Freestyle Travel. Hey everybody, this is the Freestyle Travel Show. I am your host, Kenny Flannery, and this is an episode. We got a lot to cover here. But first, one of the best sounds you can hear. Oh yeah, this is the Gonzo Imperial Porter from Flying Dog. Yes, I am drinking a Maryland beer while I am in New York City, and I am in New York City. And the heart of this episode, I will be talking about hitchhiking from Mississippi to here in New York City. I'm sitting here on May 24th, as it were, and yeah, it was a trip. I mean, there are times where I thought I wasn't actually going to get a ride. You know, this whole pandemic season, I thought that might come into play, especially the first couple days, and trip did take a little bit longer than I thought it would, but things got back to sort of normal real quick, and one good long ride and a couple good rides actually got me here. But yeah, I've got plenty to talk about before that, but that'll be the heart of the thing. But yeah, hopping is here. So I know it's been like a month since I put up an episode, and less than a couple weeks ago, the first episode of my show, Hopping, popped up on YouTube, just youtube.com/hopping. That's the show where I'm backpacking around with my friend Nick, who I'm actually seeing here in New York, or already did see. Yeah, we hitchhiked from Vegas to Flagstaff to Phoenix to California, going to breweries he'd never hitchhiked before. We filmed that back in December. Very, very, very end of December through New Year's and first few weeks of January. And whoo, it was fun. And now the first and second episode are up, so go check those out for sure. That's huge. It's very huge. I was really excited. And yeah, the first episode did really well, as did the second. And yeah, I'm stoked. I'm gonna take a sip of beer just thinking about perfect pour too. Perfect pour. I love a good Imperial Porter. Hell yeah. So yeah, a lot of news before I get to the hitchhiking trip, and a little bit to cover or catch you up on. Also my audiobook, also about it's called A Six-Pack of Hitchhiking Stories, also about hitchhiking and beer. I recorded the audiobook, drank a bunch of beers, and basically did what I'm doing right now, sat in front of a microphone, but I read the book. So I released a book about a year ago, and now this is the audio version. So if you just want to hear me read the book to you, there you go. You can get that on Amazon, Audible, wherever. There'll be a link in the show notes, so check that out. A few more things to cover here. Well, yeah, I was in Mississippi for freaking ever, man. That's intense. Let me talk about that, because that's what leads into leaving Mississippi, is being in Mississippi. You can't leave there without being there. Oof. I mean, it was a good place to be in Mississippi, particularly the house I was at with the friends I was with. But man, I am so happy to be on the road. It is insane. I'm peaking. I'm peaking today. I've had many peaks in the last few days. Many. I'll get to all of them. But today was great. Just walking around the city, and I'll get to that too. New York is on fire right now. Holy crap. I don't know what's going on here, but I mean, I haven't been here up until now, but this city's amazing. I mean, I used to live in this city, but everything I was reading about was just like real dark. But not now. Not now. The sun is shining. People are out and about. I saw more people in Madison Square Park today than I ever have. And that's one of my favorite, or maybe it's my favorite park in the city to go to. It's where the original Shake Shack is. And I've been in that park many times. I used to work at a recording studio 2 blocks away. Packed. Super packed. People smiling, having a good time. Yeah, I'm just loving being here. I'm going to take another sip of beer. I'm happy. Yeah, point is, I'm happy to be on the road, but in Mississippi, the main thing that I got done besides preparing for the premiere of the Hopping show was making bivy packs and making some gear for myself. But yeah, bivy packs are plentiful right now, so if you want one, freestyletravelgear.com. There are plenty available for you. You can go there and buy one, and it'll get shipped out to you real quick, and yeah, you'll have a sweet ass backpack that turns into a tent. Now's the time. It's summer. And this place is opening up. So yeah, let me just jump right into the hitchhiking now. So I mean, what happened was, yeah, I kind of got stuck in Mississippi. I went there before things got nutso in the world. Things started locking down, and I was there when they locked down. So I was like, I guess I'm here, because hitchhiking's gonna be weird. You can hear big little rant I did a couple episodes ago. I think I called it nomadic in the pandemic, and yeah, it's definitely a rant, but man, I stick by that. Things are crazy. And yeah, I was like, all right, well, I'm stuck here, but at least this is where the workshop is, and good friends. So made a bunch of those bivy packs, was working on the hopping show, made some stuff for myself. Yeah, it's kind of like digging into all these little projects, recorded the audio book, and just trying to keep myself from going insane, and sort of taking advantage of the advantages of being in one place for that long, which I don't like to do, but yeah, like I said, might as well take advantage. Take what you're given and work with it. So that's what I did. And yeah, finally things started opening up around Mississippi, and I was hearing the same sort of thing about around the country, like particularly in Mississippi, like finally all the restaurants and bars opened up. They're still like half capacity or whatever, but essentially they were just fully open, totally normal. Walk in there, get a beer, sit down. I had my premiere at a brewery, a gigantic place, so 50% capacity for them was basically normal, because they were just a real big, wouldn't say warehouse vibe, but kind of like real high ceilings, real spaced out, big place. So it was just feeling good. And then finally I was like, it's time to go. And then sure enough, my buddy who I was staying with owns a tattoo shop, and the day I left, their shop opened up. So everything was just clicking. And another guy who'd been hunkering down there with me, who didn't live there but was just sort of from the last episode, David, psychedelic David, as it were, he was hitting the road heading to Alabama. So he was going to offer me a ride, because he was going to Montgomery, and I was like, I want to get up to New York, so that's what we'll start this off. So let's put in that little break music, so we're feeling good. I'm gonna take another sip of beer, and we'll launch into this story. Hitchhiking in New York, May 2020. Let's do it. All right. So yeah, David was heading towards. Well, he was heading towards a lot of different places. His whole situation was in flux too. He just lives at this point on the road. He's got a truck and a trailer. So for a minute, he thought he was gonna go to. For a while, he thought he was going to go to Houston. Then he started talking about going to Nashville, and that was more in my direction. Because when I got to Mississippi originally, my original plan when I got to Mississippi was to hang out for, a couple weeks or something, a week, maybe 3 weeks at the most. Basically just to catch up with my friends, make some bivy packs, check another couple boxes maybe, but and then do a book tour. For that 6-pack of hitchhiking stories. I wanted to do a brewery book tour, which I'm still going to do eventually when the dust settles. And the idea was to go to a bunch of breweries and sell some books, drink some beers from Mississippi on up to New York. So that was the original plan. Obviously, that got all shut down when the country got shut down, so to speak. But yeah, still had New York on my mind, even a couple months later, or however long all that stuff was. And at this point, I had the added incentive to help my sister out. My sister bought a Jeep from our brother, who lives in New York, and needed it driven out to Wyoming. So I'm like, all right, well, I was already thinking of going there, and I can drive a Jeep. So, all right, double bonus. Going to New York. So, yeah. David was going at least as far as Montgomery, a little bit further, but in terms of me going to New York. Montgomery was going to be it. So day finally came. Packed up all the bivy pack stuff. Cleaned up the little, I was sleeping, there's a little shed out in the back I was sleeping in. Got that cleaned up. Got the bivy packs packed up. Got my own stuff packed up. And hit the road, man. Hit the road. Woo, man. Oh, it just felt good. It just felt really, really good. Just cruising, just moving, hours of road going by. And finally he dropped me off, just at an on-ramp in Montgomery. Ready to go. Probably like 4 or 5 in the afternoon by the time we got moving and got up there, got dropped off. So a few hours of daylight. And yeah, no rides. No rides that day. So I stuck my thumb out at a ramp for a while. Just no luck. Decided to walk down to the highway and onto the highway. Started walking, trying to thumb a ride. Just nothing. And I'm not going to lie. It was in my head. The whole corona bug thing. I'm like, man, it feels like it's opening up. It was surely opening up in Mississippi, I don't know where all you guys are at listening to this and when you're listening to this. To put it in perspective, when I hit the road was, I can't remember the exact date, but let's just call it May 15th. Might have been, actually that's probably pretty accurate. May 16th, something like that, 2020. Give or take a day, right? But Mississippi was opening up. And I was hearing other places are opening up. And I'm just like, I think it's time. It's time, But yeah, while I'm standing there on the road and not getting rides, I'm starting to wonder, like, is this going to be an issue? Are people not going to pick me up because they're not, social distancing, doing their diligence and whatnot? It was messing with my head a little bit. And no rides. So got dark and I camped out. I was still feeling relatively positive though, because all it takes is one car, one person to give you a ride. So that's all it takes. So there can be 100 people who, virus or no virus, just, normally these people won't pick you up hitchhiking. And I've had days where I've waited 3, 4, 5 hours for rides. I've had days where I haven't gotten a ride. I've had days where I got rides in minutes. So, I was still positive, but it was in my head. So I camped out, and that was cool. Camping out was the first night with the new bivy pack. So I kind of had a video on this. If you go to Hobo Lifestyle or youtube.com/Hobo Lifestyle, I have some video pandemic pack where I kind of tease the new backpack I'd made for myself, sort of a prototype in Mississippi. And this was the first night where I was properly camping with it. So yeah, that in itself was pretty cool. So I just tucked literally off the highway into the trees. Found a little nook, camped there for the night. And it was great. It unpacked real quick, and I got in there, and I'm like, comfy, cozy, happy days. We're sitting at 90 degrees during the day, so, didn't even need my sleeping bag at night even. So whatever, feeling all right. And then I wake up the next day, destination New York. Or no, actually, oh damn, totally forgot. So when I left, New York is my ultimate destination, but I had North Carolina in my mind too, because my brother lives on the coast of North Carolina, so I have some other family that's out there now. So I'm like, if I can get there first, even better. But I was like, let me feel it out. If it's slow, maybe that's not the way to go, which is the way it turned out. Spoiler alert. So the next day, again, I got up and I started walking, and an hour went by, a couple hours went by, and then finally I got a ride. It was a 5-mile ride to a truck stop. This guy real nice guy. He just wasn't going that far, but it felt good. I was like, all right, I'm in, like I got all right. I've cracked an egg. This is happening somehow. So I walked from that truck stop back to the road, and sure enough, another ride came. It took a little while. It was a truck driver, an 18-wheeler, real nice dude, a guy who actually lives in Brooklyn. He's from Kyrgyzstan, and been living in the States for about 7 years. So he lives in Brooklyn for about a week and then spends about 4 weeks in the truck driving all over the place. That's kind of his rhythm. 1 week in Williamsburg, 4 weeks on the road driving the truck. And he picked me up and he said he was going to Macon, which is not the direct way I was going, but I was like, I will take it, because it was going. So I took the ride to Macon, and we finally got there. He was driving for Amazon, and he's like, potentially my next load will be going to North Carolina, either later that night or the next day. So I was like, all right, I'll hang on for that. And he's like, let's stop and get some food and see what happens. So I'm like, hell yeah. And then, we're really getting along too. We were about the same age, and just him being from Brooklyn and him telling me all about his country and stuff and just traveling in general. And then it looks like North Carolina's not happening for him, and he might be going to Atlanta. So a couple hours drag on where we're waiting to see where he might be going. Getting a little bit later. And finally, it's like he may or may not be going all the way to Atlanta, and he's probably going to Dallas. So I'm like, crap. Lost a little bit of daylight. No big deal. Had a good time. I'm just happy to be on the road at this point, Usually with hitchhiking, I am a little bit like more go, Use every bit of daylight, but whatever. I got no schedule. And like I said, I'm just happy to be on the road. So... it just feels so good even saying that. Let me take another sip of this beer. Oof, I've had some good beers here. I'll get to New York. I will get to New York. Another spoiler? Is that a spoiler? No, I already told you I'm in New York. It's been great here. Been great. So finally this guy is going towards Atlanta, but he's not going to sleep in Atlanta. He's going to stop somewhere along the way. So anyways, I chose this town called Forsyth, Georgia, to hop out, where there was a road that would cut diagonally more eastbound towards the 20 without having to get stuck in Atlanta. It was dark by the time he dropped me off, so basically I just walked for 10-20 minutes down this like road that was a lot smaller than it looked like on the map, but whatever, it was already dark, so I crawled into a huge wooded area and set up my new bivy pack once again, and it rained a lot that night, which normally would kind of suck, and it wasn't the best, but again, this is a brand new bivy pack that I made, so I was kind of excited to see how's this gonna fare in the rain. And there's a good 2-hour stretch of like heavy rain, big old fat raindrops coming down consistently, and it held up real well. So yeah, usually not ideal to be in the woods in the rain, but I was excited to see that my whole system carried on. Jacket and the bivy pack combined in this glorious system. So yeah, I stayed pretty dry and felt really good about it. I mean, still wet, whatever. Next day was wet too. So yeah, I got up and in a break in the rain and started walking, and again, I walked for like kind of a while, but whatever. This is like a small-ish road. I don't even remember the name of the road. Not a highway. Country road, I guess. But finally, this guy picked me up, and he's like, where are you going? I was like, well, North Carolina, kind of, and ultimately New York. And he's like, where are you going right now? And I was like, well, there. I'm like, the next place that would be cool to get to, I guess, would be like Augusta, because I got a good friend there. I wouldn't mind seeing. He's like, that's where I'm going. I'm going to North Augusta. You're in luck. I'm like, holy crap. All right. And Augusta was only, I don't know, a couple hours away from where we were at, something like that, give or take. But still, I was like, all right, been walking and walking and walking, waiting and waiting, mostly. So this will be good. So he got me to Augusta, early-ish or mid-afternoon. But being able to stop and see my friend for a night was totally worth it. Taking a pause from the slow road at that point. And I did. I caught up with my friend there. and we drank a bunch of good beer and had a bunch of good conversation. Had a good meal. It was just a good time and a good rest from just a couple kind of slow days on the road. And things really picked up after that too. I think I was just even in better spirits and just feeling good. And it just cool to see people, because even when I hit him up, I wasn't so sure. Like, I haven't been sure about a lot of people and stuff going forward, like who's really doing the masquerade kind of quarantine thing. Like, I don't know who's chilling, who's not. So just the fact that he was, like, willing to chill and stuff. And yeah, I don't know. Like, it's weird being in one place and just like how stagnant that is. It reminds me how much I love being on the road, because you get a real feel for like the dynamics of life and what's actually going on, kind of. I missed that. Missed it a lot. That's why I'm so happy right now. Yeah, so it was just great. It was really, really great seeing him and having good beers for the first time in a while. Like, I was having, a good beer every once in a while and drinking my own homebrew, which was like, whoo, a couple of them were really good. That IPA the first week or two when it was fresh, oh man. But yeah, I like variety. I like drinking different beers. So even just that little thing of drinking 4 or 5 beers or whatever that we picked up was pretty awesome. So yeah, he gave me a ride out of town the next morning, afternoon, out to a truck stop outside of Augusta. And yeah, then the rides just kind of started coming. Take another sip of beer here. Just talking about beer. How can I not? Gonzo, Imperial Porter, Flying Dog. So good. Oh, yes. Happiness. All right, so what rides did I get there? Out of Augusta. Yeah, I got a ride from someone going to the next kind of city. Didn't speak a ton of English, but he was cool. Picked up a friend along the way, had his kid in the back seat, got me to the edge of the city. Yeah, next on ramp, some woman who also didn't speak a lot of English, but was super excited. And I guess had done a lot of hitchhiking, and her daughter was in the passenger seat, who just spoke perfect English and was just like, yeah, I guess they'd both done their fair share of hitchhiking and traveling, and were just excited and cutely apologetic that they were only going across town. But getting a ride across the city is sometimes the best ride you can get hitchhiking. If you ever see someone hitchhiking and you're just going across the city, don't think you're not helping. That's like the best ride you can get, because then they're on the other side of the city, and anyone picking them up is going a distance. So you just did them a huge favor. And that's what she did. So that was cool. And then another dude after that gave me another like 5-minute ride, but whatever. It was cool. And then I think, yeah, that's when I got a ride from another 18-wheeler. And that guy was cruising. He said he was going to Charlotte. So that was the moment where I realized I wasn't going to go to my family on the coast of North Carolina. Just because of the previous 2 slowish days, I was just like, all right. And it was sort of it's a decision point. When he said Charlotte, it's like the junction was like right up there, like 10 miles away or something. So at that junction, it's like either keep going east or head north towards Charlotte, which means I'm New York bound. And I was like, all right, this is a long ass ride. It's been a slow couple days. Shifting gears. I'm getting New York bound. Plus, my brother was telling me he wasn't even really around to hang out much anyway, so it's kind of an easy decision, and here we go. And this guy was real cool, real friendly, real friendly, just all smiles. Just happy to have someone to hang out with himself. Just cool. So we cruised, and then it turned out not only was he going to Charlotte, he was going like north of Charlotte by like 40 miles or something like that. And then as we got even closer, he's like, all right, so I can either drop you off at this truck stop, or I can, take you out to barbecue, hang out for a minute, and then take you to the truck stop. And I'm like, yeah, let's do that. Sounds cool. So yeah, we went and he dropped his load off, took the truck back to his house in the country, grabbed his car, took the car to barbecue, got that, brought it back to his house, chowed down. I almost thought he was going to invite me to stay. And at the time, I really wished he did, sort of, but I didn't want to ask. And I think he probably would have been stoked, actually. I don't know. It's probably like a standoff. Like I think he might have been waiting for me to ask, and I might have been waiting for him to offer. But that did not happen. Instead, he dropped me off at this like really rinky dinky, stinky truck stop. Nah, I take back the stinky, but the dinky and the rinky remain for this truck stop, somewhere around the 77. And yeah, it was past sunset when he dropped me off, and I'm just like, ah, man, no one's gonna give me a ride here. They were really nice at the truck stop. Now you can sit down, and the girl behind the Subway sandwich counter was like, "You want a sandwich?" And I had just eaten all this barbecue with dude, so I'm like, "No, I'm good, but I love you and everybody here for being so nice." So before it got completely dark, I walked through the rain to the highway, just hoping for that Hail Mary ride, just like that last. The sun is down at this point, but it's just, that time of day where there's like still a little bit of light, even though the sun's down. And nope, didn't work. No rides. So, and I kind of knew that was gonna happen. I knew it was a Hail Mary shot. If I had made that walk 12 times, maybe one of those times I would have gotten a ride. So I just I knew it was gonna rain all night too. So the second underpass that I got to, kind of bridge, I'm like, this is my spot. So I climbed up the slope of the bridge and found that little flat spot right in the crease. And I'm like, all right, this is my option. So I'm camping here tonight. I had one beer in my backpack, left over from Augusta. So I sat there and watched the traffic go by and sipped on this can of this kind of like almond coconut stout. Yeah, it's pretty good. A little sweet, but not terrible. Felt good. It's a good time drinking that beer. And yeah, just camped under there. And man, was it loud. It was loud. I think it's the loudest bridge I've ever slept under. It was rough sleeping. I'm pretty good at sleeping under some crazy conditions, and I did get my Z's, but whew. Got to the point where it sounded like jets taking off, just a reverberating rumble of these trucks going by, and it shaking my soul. But it's all good. I stayed dry, I mean, I know I had tested my gear, and it was good, but it's just way more comfortable to not have rain plopping down around you. So that's what I did, and got going super early and took a sip of beer while I was talking to you just now. It was a good run, y'all. It was a good run. So it just gets better and better, and it gets better when I get to New York. So here we go. Was this the great day? Oh, this was it. Oh, yeah. So this is the day I get to New York. So if you can believe it, all these like slow days I've been ramming you with. Yeah, if you can believe it, here I am just a little bit north of Charlotte, and I get all the way to New York City today. So, all right, I wake up from this bridge early-ish. I think I remember it said 6:46 when I looked at my phone, either right when I got up or right when I started moving. So let's call it 7. Started walking, got a ride right away, pretty much right away, like within 10 minutes. Older dude, had some conspiracies and philosophies, pretty outspoken dude. Cool though. He was going to Ohio, and right away I was stoked, like forgetting what the map looked like. He was going to Ohio, so I'm like, whoo, all these slow days, here I go. Yeah, it turns out our junction was like an hour away or something like that, but still great. It's awesome to wake up, hit the road, and get a ride right away. Yeah, so I was real excited. I was like, how far? I forget how these roads go. I'm getting on the 81. Are we going? am I gonna be with this dude for 6 hours? More? Hell yeah. But no, it was like an hour before the true junction where we had to part ways. And yeah, he dropped me off and and it's cold. Like, I think I told you, like, sleeping with no sleeping bag earlier in this trip back in Alabama. Now we're talking like 40 degrees. I think it's this crazy cold snap, raining all the time. And yeah, my next ride came from a cop. So I'm at this junction and I was standing still because I saw there's this bridge with no shoulder and construction. It was just going to be sketchy to keep walking. So I stayed there, and then cop shows up. I approached him real slick and nice, like, just happy to see him, because I actually really was, like, I just wanted to get out of that spot. And he was super cool, and what'd he say? He's like, you been anywhere that's got the COVID? And I'm like, nah, I don't know, man. I'm good. He's like, you're gonna have to wear a mask if you ride with me. And I'm like, all right. Oh, and David, who'd given me that initial ride, who I'd been hunkered down with, Psychedelic David, when he dropped me off, he gave me a mask and a tube of what's that crap, Purell or something, some kind of sanitizer. So I'm like, oh, actually I got a mask. So it's the first time I got to join the masquerade party. So cop and I mask it up about a mile or two, drops me off at the truck stop. He's like, good luck at the truck stop. Hope you get a ride. Just don't be on the freeway. Have fun. I'm like, all right, I will. So I stood by the on-ramp for a while. Kind of windy, kind of cold. But I just kept my pacing around and, waited, 45 minutes, an hour. And then, someone gave me a ride. Little short ways. They dropped me off at a place where there was nothing. Way windier, way rainier. Just got lucky. 15 minutes maybe. I got to feel all the elements. That's cool. And then this dude gave me a ride. He was going to Roanoke and dropped me off at a rest area. Again, the rest area felt like a long time. It was pissing rain at this rest area and like just extra cold. And I'm like, oh man. And like not a lot of people getting off at this rest area. But let me take a sip of beer. I feel like I'm losing some of you, and beer will help. I'm really putting you through what it feels like to hitchhike this trip. Hope you appreciate the grind and the journey, and I don't lose you, because there's no way for me to get out of it. That's what it's like when you're hitchhiking. You're at a rest area in Virginia, and you're just like, there's no way to get out of this. Like, you have to keep grinding it out. Like, you just have to. You can't. Even if, like, your best friend, like, wired you $600, it's like, what are you gonna do? You're there. And it's that's what keeps you going. Something's always gonna work. Something's always gonna work out. So you can never get too bummed while you're hitchhiking. Like, you can't. If you start getting too bummed, like, don't. Just stop. Just start reeling in those good times. So that's what I did, and here we go. Buddy picks me up. Long ride. He actually was a truck driver, but at the moment he was driving a pickup truck with a trailer, heading up to central-ish or northern Pennsylvania. Woo! This is a long ride. This is a good ride. Several hour ride. I forget how many hours. Many hours though. And I'm like, oh. Once I got that ride and I realized how far north he was going to, like, we would part ways in Harrisburg, Pennsylvania. I'm like, holy crap, I have a shot of making it to the city today. I think, to put this in perspective, from that bridge that I was under, if I had a car and drove straight to New York City, it would be a little over 9 hours, I believe. And from a hitchhiking perspective, with all the junctions and stuff that I had to do, not likely, definitely possible, but generally I would consider that a 2-day hitch. And now when I got this ride, I'm like, this is going to put me in Harrisburg with daylight, so I'm going to have a chance here. So I rode with that guy. Lots of good stories. flipped around with that guy. He was pretty cool. Finally drops me off at just a junction on the highway before a bridge in Harrisburg. He'd offered to drop me off at a truck stop, and I'm just like, no way. I'm going to go to the furthest inch that you're going before I bail. And boom, then the luck just started slamming in more. Like, I should have had to walk over this 2-mile bridge, and this dude just picked me up right away. And he was only going over the bridge. Just to be nice, he took me past the next junction. Huge. And then right after him, I believe... Was it right after him? Yeah, I think it was right after him. Oh, yeah, right after him, this dude from West Africa who'd been living in the States, also living in New York, like that other truck driver, he picked me up. He was going just about to Allentown. Woo! Allentown. From where I was, Allentown was halfway to New York. So boom, we're cruising. He drops me off just before Allentown. Another rinky-dink spot, but just right there. Right before sunset. Maybe like 30, 40 minutes before sunset. And I'm like, oh my God, I'm so close. Maybe I won't make it, but maybe I will. So I just start walking, and I did walk for a long time. And then it was like the sun was gone. I couldn't see the sun anymore, but it was still light. And then boom, this monster picks me up. This freaking guy from, I think he's from the Dominican Republic, but yeah, lives in Allentown, truck driver, 18-wheeler, heading to New Haven. Woo! And that was good. And he had hitchhiked before. He'd hitchhiked from like Texas to Nebraska. He's younger than I was. I think he was in his 20s somewhere. I don't know. Didn't exchange birth dates, but man, what a feeling. What a wonderful feeling. It was so good. I'm just like, this is it. And he's going to New Haven, so he's going past all this stuff. And because he'd hitchhiked before, he's like, I was going to go this way, but I could go over the George Washington Bridge at 95, and if that'll help you. And I'm like, hell yeah, that'll help me, because that puts me in the Bronx. And that's what happened. Like, I rode with this dude, just swapping hitchhiking stories and good vibes, real good vibes, just like really on the level. Probably, him and I were probably more on the level than anyone else who picked me up, and just cruising, and it's night, and I'm seeing the skyline in New York, and I'm like, yes. And then he just stops on the highway, and like not even a shoulder, right in the Bronx, and I just pop out, and I critter my way up to the street level and find myself a Subway, and I'm good to go. Oh man, I couldn't believe it. So New York City. So I made it. Yes. That's the whole hitchhike. Let me play the transition music, and I have a lot to say about my few days in New York City so far, and I'm really excited about the next couple days, and I'm excited about a lot to come. So let me play that music. Let me tell you about the last few days since getting here, and the subway ride home was even notable. I'll take a sip of beer while this music plays. All right, here we go. All right, so yeah, New York City. I find myself a Subway. Screens are all screwed up, and the dudes behind the glass don't want to touch my old cards. I got old ass Metro cards in my backpack. I got Metro cards from in my backpack. I got a small little stack from London and Atlanta and New York and San Diego, and just spots around the world where I got anywhere between 12 cents and maybe $12 worth of credit. But anyways, so they wouldn't take that side to, I don't know, they didn't want to touch them or whatever. So, and the screens didn't work, so I had to get a single ride pass. I get up there and start to notice a lot of people wearing masks up here. And then I see a Subway going the other way, and I kind of peek in there just to gauge. I'm like, almost everyone except for 2 people had a mask on there. So I chowed down my food, and but next thing I know, they made an announcement and I'd been waiting there for 15 minutes. They're train's not gonna run. I guess someone had gotten smashed up. Someone jumped in front of a train or fell in front of a train. They mentioned someone getting smacked by a train, a stop down. So like, you gotta walk over to the was it the F train or something? So walked on down, walked to the F train, got the guy's attention. I'm like, I'm not paying for another pass, dude. They cut me off over there, just flashed my pass, and he let me skip through the turnstiles. And yeah, threw my mask on. I realized that's a thing over here in New York, for sure. Definitely in the subways, pretty much everyone's wearing a mask. That's what I've noticed. The subway cars are fairly empty compared to what I'm used to. Especially I noticed that today, Sunday, what today is, peak day, coming back from Queens, which I'll get to, and not a lot of people on there. But yeah, pretty much everyone is wearing a mask. So I'm like, all right, I'm glad David gave me this thing. Pardon me. I think these masks are they don't really do crap for not getting any kind of airborne diseases, but they go a long way as far as like not spreading it. So it's polite to do. That's why I'm glad I had it. And hell yeah, I got all the way down. My brother's living here in the city. He moved here right when everything shut down. I feel bad for him. Sorry, Jack, if you're listening. Brutal, but he's getting his right now. Yeah, he basically moved to the city and everything shut down. But he lives down here around like 4th Street. Yeah, down on 4th Street, and the East Village, Alphabet City kind of area. So yeah, popped in. It was probably right around midnight, give or take, and yeah, freaking awesome to see him and just catch up with him. And seems like he hasn't really hung out with anybody in ages, a couple months or something. He's been working for home. He has like a finance job and just does everything from his computer. His roommates, he's got 2 roommates here, but they bailed out when things started getting hairy. Went back to Connecticut with their family or something like that. So he's just been by himself over here, just straight soloing. Crazy. Can't imagine. I was going nuts, stir crazy. I've been on the road for next month almost it'll be 13 years. And it's pretty rare that I stay anywhere for more than a month. But at least while I was stuck there in Mississippi for over a month, I had, several friends to kick it with, I was living with. But brutal. But in that way, it was kind of cool to see him and be like one of the first people you could actually like let loose with and chill with a little bit. So, we didn't stay up too long. He had to work the next day. So he did. Crashed out, woke up. He got some work done. I did a couple things, and then and it just so happened to be my birthday that day, the day I woke up in New York. So, had started kicking some beers around for sure. And once he got off work, in particular, is like went and took a walk out to the park, looking out on Williamsburg Bridge, and I was just stoked to see like all the stuff I heard about in New York City was like real distressful. I don't know, grim, like locked down, a lot of shaming, people getting shamed for, I don't know, not wearing masks or social distancing or whatever the hell. And I didn't witness any of that. All I witnessed was just good times. People running around the track. People, like, hanging out, drinking beers. We were drinking beers. Like, people picnicking. People just walking, jogging, hanging out. Loving life, having a good time. Beautiful sunny day. So that's what we did. We stopped in a good beer spot and then got a couple, like, decent 6-packs and eventually wound up back at his apartment and just kind of kicked it and caught up and had a bunch of good beers and talked to a bunch of friends on the phone, video chats and stuff. People were hitting me up just because it was my birthday. They figured that out, and it was just a good all-around night. And then the day after, episode 2 of the Hopping Show dropped that night too, so I was able to watch it with Jack. It was kind of cool. The show's been my baby, so it's pretty cool when I get a chance to watch it with someone else, just to kind of see their reactions and stuff. And the next day, he was finally going out on a trip with his buddies, like the first time really that he's escaping. Everything's clearing up. Everything's good now. I say everything's good now. Might piss some people off, but I don't know. Everything seems cool now. There's still stuff that's shut down, but it's like I think people are getting over the overreaction. I think when this first started, people thought it was going to be a lot worse, or at least the people shouting the loudest, influencing everybody, was saying it's going to be a lot worse. And obviously, by now, we all know this was not nearly as bad as it was going to be. And especially now, it's like just tapering off. So I felt really good for my brother. He's getting back tomorrow, but it's good to see that he's getting out. I don't think he's, doesn't get to go to a bunch of bars and see a bunch of people, but he gets to hang out with a bunch of his other buddies who just been quarantined up, and some girls and whatnot. Something. I don't know exactly what he's doing, but I know he's not hanging out in his apartment by himself, so that's a plus. Pretty nice. So he went and did that, and yeah, I just went and caught up with Nick. Nick lives in Astoria. Nick's the dude I'm doing hopping with. You've seen him. Redheaded Nick. Shout out, Nick. I've been chilling with him last couple days, catching some beers. We've made plans for the next 5 seasons of hopping. So we're sitting there mapping out like our Northeast trip, our Midwest trip, our East Coast trip, our Northwest trip. Oh, we're ready to go. We are ready to go. We got it all. We're stoked. We're stoked. Shit, we're 2 episodes live into this season. We're already scoping it all out. Why not, So, let me take another sip of this beer. I'm just about empty. This podcast is just about over, too, so good timing. Yeah, so that's what I've been doing. Kicked it with Nick last couple days. Jack's getting back tomorrow, my brother, so I'm recording this in his apartment. In his room, actually, because in his living room I was getting weird interference with the microphone. I don't know what that's about. I think there's just a lot of signals flying through out there. But yeah, he gets back tomorrow. I had actually thought I might leave tomorrow to go pick up his Jeep and head to my dad's and stuff. But so this is what I'm doing next. I think I might actually stick around in the city till Wednesday, because my real good friend Mark hasn't been able to chill, but apparently has Tuesday free. So I'm real excited to catch up with him, because goddamn, he's been like my best friend since 4th grade, first of all. But there's videos of him online, like making cocktails for Bobby Flay and just doing all kinds of stuff. And he's a bartender, so I figured he was just out of work, but he's like, I can't chill because I gotta catch up on all these things. I'm like, what things, dude? But yeah, he's got some YouTube thing that comes out every Thursday. And at first I'm like, what are you, scooping the hopping show? Because the hopping show comes out every Thursday at 8 p.m. Eastern time and 5 p.m. Pacific time. Incidental plug. But I guess his show comes out like a couple hours before our show. Some Breeders' Cup thing. I gotta talk to him about it. I just saw the quick thing. He's like he's on Zoom video calls with Bobby Flay making cocktails and stuff while Bobby Flay's running around. Like, I don't know, it seemed funny as hell. So I gotta talk to him and find out what the hell he's doing with his life. It sounds pretty awesome, this guy. So yeah, it sounds like Tuesday is gonna be a fun, very unique day of curbside bar hopping in Manhattan, the likes of which no one has ever seen before. We are going to crush it, I'm pretty sure. Wow, I'm excited. And then, yeah, I will get this Jeep from my brother and head up to my dad's, who lives like an hour north of the city, catch up with him for a day or 3, whatever it is, and yeah, I'm driving to Wyoming. There's that. So I will drive the Jeep to Wyoming, get it to my sister. I'm sure I'll make 1, 2, 3, 4 stops along the way if I can. See some friends, whoever's down to chill basically on the route. And yeah, then I'll be in Wyoming. So I'm sure that'll involve several days of catching up. My mom, sister live out there, and it's kind of where I want to be. The northwestish area. This is when the weather gets real good out there. It's probably the best time to be in Montana, Idaho, Colorado, all those kind of states. Wyoming, just for hiking. Good times. Who cares if the bars are open? Who cares what's going on? The mountains are mountains. So, woo! Fired all that out. So that's what's up. That's what's up. I think we've reached the end of all this catching you guys up. Hope you dug it. Hope you guys are having fun wherever you're at. Hope this pandemic madness is coming to an end for you. Just be smart. Don't be dumb, and don't be dumb. And enjoy yourself. Don't get too involved in the theater aspect of the pandemic stuff. Just do the stuff that actually makes sense, and be healthy, happy, enjoy yourself. I'm stoked. I'm so stoked. It feels so good to be alive and moving and out here and drinking good beer. All of it, everything. So that's it. Just to recap the things that I got going on there. Yeah, hopping. That's the biggest thing. I'm proud of it. I'm really stoked on our editor, producer, Gary Blake, who's just crushing. Yeah, Nick and I, we went out there, we did the whole thing. I got in front of the camera, I drank a lot of beers, and Nick took a big chance on this trip. Just trying hitchhiking for the first time. But yeah, Gary's taking everything that we did and crafting it into the story that you're seeing on YouTube. So shout out to him, and yeah, it's turning out really good. So yeah, every Thursday the videos go public on YouTube at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. YouTube.com/hopping. Yeah, we're 2 episodes deep. Vegas and Flagstaff. So first and foremost, yeah, that. And yeah, obviously the audiobook, 6-pack of hitchhiking stories. You can also get the paperback, the ebook. That's pretty cool. Every time you buy a book, I almost can afford a beer. I don't know how much I make for every book, but I could probably get a PBR every time you buy a book. If you really want to get me a beer directly, you can PayPal me, hobolifestyle@gmail.com. Yeah, just send a PayPal to that for, depends where I'm at, anywhere from $4 to $8 probably gets me a beer. Whatever, not that it matters, it's cool. Yeah, so those are 2 things that I'm stoked on. Oh yeah, and the bivy pack. If you wanna travel like a rock star with a super light backpack that turns into a tent. It's freaking awesome. I'm just so happy about so many things. So many things. Yeah, let me leave it at that. Hobo lifestyle. I don't need to promote all this crap. Y'all know what it is. I love you guys. Keep on cruising. Keep on rocking. Enjoy the springtime. It is strong among us, and summer is around the corner. All right, you guys. I will see you down the road. I need a new escape. With all my shit straight, I'll get my big brain.